Within the dying planet of Hoxxes IV, an abundance of valuable rocks and stone demands to be mined. No one is better equipped to recover these minerals than the irresponsibly managed employees of the Deep Rock Galactic Mining Corporation. This documentary will provide new employees with essential knowledge to better survive the planet's unique and hostile wildlife, completing mission objectives with their lives intact. Welcome to A Dwarves Guide to Hoxxes IV, the Mactera and Naedocyte species. To call the labyrinth of tunnels snaking beneath Hoxxes IV's crust a hostile work environment is a bit of an understatement, as the employees of the Deep Rock Mining Corporation could tell you. The unique environmental hazards each biome presents are the least of a dwarves' problems, as there are many dangerous alien species to contend with. In the previous episode, we uncovered variants of the Glyphid genus, a terrestrial species that is a constant presence within the caves. In this episode, we will explore the many airborne threats a dwarf will face, offering survival tips tried and tested by veteran employees. The first of these aerial creatures are the Mactera, an insectoid genus that is encountered within Hoxxes IV's caves almost as commonly as glyphids. Creatures of this genus are highly specialized in aerial engagements, with total mastery of 360-degree flight. Like most creatures on Hoxxes, encountering them solo is no big deal, but if these flighted bugs start to swarm, they can prove extremely challenging. Mactera come in many different variations, each with their own unique attacks, defenses, and weaknesses. The most common of these variations is the Mactera Spawn. Mactera Spawn can be easily identified by their striking resemblance to that of a glyphid, their chitinous armor of similar appearance. Its ability to fly sets this creature apart from the glyphids, possessing 4 strong wings to carry them into battle, rarely alone, as the Mactera prefer to accompany the hordes of glyphids that plague the caves. Whilst this behaviour is not fully understood, it is believed to be purely opportunistic. Mactera have been spotted liquefying and ingesting the remains of its prey in the midst of battle, making quick work with its overgrown proboscis. Similar to glyphids, its weak spot is its oversized abdomen. Dwarves are advised to attack this spot to interrupt the spawn's attack and deal devastating damage. The Mactera prefers to fight in the back ranks, utilising its ranged attack to deal damage to its prey. Their projectile yellow spit attack can do some serious damage, however it does have a drawback. The Mactera must remain stationary to charge their volley, leaving them vulnerable to a well-placed shot. Whilst relatively easy to take out, these creatures can become bothersome, especially if encountered with others of its species. The next variation of Mactera is a strange and sinister creature, whose appearance is vastly different from most Mactera. Resembling a giant flying spider, this 6-legged beast has the same chitinous armor found on many of Hoxxes IV's creatures. Its spindly legs attached to a slim abdomen ends in a bulbous glowing tail. Unlike most creatures on Hoxxes, the Grabber's glowing eyes are ever lidless, their unblinking eyes scanning the caves for its prey. Just like its namesake, this variation has no direct attack, instead preferring to swoop in and grab its prey, before flying to great heights to drop their target to their demise. Any dwarves ensnared by this devil will not be able to break themselves free, the titan-like grip holding them completely immobile. Squad mates can free a grabbed dwarf by aiming at the grabber's weak point, its glowing tail. The grab attack itself can be easily avoided, especially considering the grabber always announces its arrival with a piercing screech. Another member of the Mactera species is the Goo Bomber. Specialising in covering the battleground in a thick, sticky goo, the species immobilises its victims, hindering the movements of any caught in the way. While the bomber is similar in appearance to most Mactera species, the Goo Bomber is of a larger build. They possess 2 abdomens instead of 1 to carry the sticky goo they spread over the battlefield. Like most Mactera, these abdomens serve as the weak point and should be targeted for maximum ammo efficiency. These Mactera passively roam the battlefield in tight circles, spreading their goo over a large area. Once engaged in a fight, they prefer to lock onto a target and focus their attacks solely on them. As with the Mactera Spawn, they must remain stationary to fire, so use this opportunity to take them down. The most aggressive of the Mactera variations is the Tri-Jaw. These mean bugs pack a punch with their burst fire ranged attack. Their distinct jagged iridescent chitinous armour, razor sharp wings and trisected jaws makes these creatures stand out amongst their brethren, an aggressive appearance that matches their ferocious behaviour. They attack their prey with ranged attacks, similar to the Spawn. After a small charge, the Tri-Jaw launches a burst of 3 acidic spines from its mouth. Getting hit with these are the least of your concerns, as after a short time these spines explode, dealing significant area damage. Their abdomen are their weak points and should be targeted during the charge of their attacks. The last and rarest variation of Mactera is the Brundle. The Brundle is the muscle of the species. Its dark and bulky armour encompassing the entirety of its body makes this the toughest Mactera to take down. Whilst this heavily armoured variation acts as a bullet sponge, its attacks are easily avoided. Using the same strategy as when dealing with the Spawn, the Brundle must charge up its spit attack, leaving it vulnerable. Dealing sufficient damage to its abdomen armour plates will reveal the Brundle's weak point, but shooting its unarmoured mouth can also be effective. Getting a clear shot of a Brundle's mouth usually means it's about to eat your face off, a move management strongly advises against. Posing a considerable threat to the lives of any who venture into Hoxxes, the Mactera should be dealt with extreme force. However, they are not the only airborne threats Dwarves need to worry about. This is the Naedocyte Shocker. These jellyfish-like creatures seemingly float through the air aimlessly. However, they do have full autonomy over their movements and use this mobility to their advantage. Rarely found alone, these swarms of creatures like to envelop their prey before creating an electric current around themselves, shocking their victims until death. Naedocyte use ambush tactics to corner their prey, often digging through rock and stone to the surprise of many unsuspecting dwarves. Dealing with these creatures is not necessarily difficult, as they are extremely weak. However, their strength comes in numbers, so be sure to deal with them immediately. While the Naedocyte goes through many stages of development, their full cycle is yet to be understood. However, this next variation is believed to be the species' starting point. The Naedocyte Breeder is the most alien creature found on Hoxxes, and that's saying something. They sport an almost fish-like appearance, with large tendrils formed out the back of their misshapen heads. A pink, distended mouth hangs down beneath them and produces a wailing noise akin to whale song as they float through the caverns. Breeders will avoid combat at all costs and instead try to lay as many roe eggs as possible. These eggs are birthed through the breeder's mouth and are deposited onto the cavern floors. roe eggs are very vulnerable to damage and should be destroyed immediately. Leaving these eggs to hatch can result in being overrun with Naedocyte hatchlings, as each roe egg can contain as much as 5 hatchlings. During this infant stage, the hatchlings act much like shockers. However, instead of producing an electric current, they are lined with serrated spines, causing severe lacerations to any surrounded. It is advised to track and destroy the breeder immediately. Dwarves should target the mouths, as these appear to be the weak point. Mactera and Naedocyte's dominion over the trapped air within the caves of Hoxxes IV, combined with the terrestrial assaults of the glyphid hordes, makes mining within the planet's caves an incredibly hazardous occupation. The Dwarves of the deep Rock Galactic Mining Corporation are risking their lives working the front lines to ensure plenty of rock and stone for all. If you feel like you have what it takes, make sure to check out our other survival guides to prepare yourself for the various environmental hazards that are all part of the job. As always, thank you for watching. Have fun, stay safe, and leave no dwarf behind.